Okay, so here in the first question, it's 2 times by negative 8 minus 3 times by negative 2. So remember, we got to do our multiplication before we do the adding subtracting. So here's our two multiplications that we have to do. So it's this one right here and this one right here. So 2 times by negative 8, that's going to give me negative 16. Then negative 3 times by negative 2, negative and negative will give me a positive. 3 times 2 is 6. Negative 16 add by 6 is negative 10. Right, and this one here, I have to make sure that I do my exponents before I do my multiplication, and which is also before I do my adding and subtracting. So I'm going to do this guy here first. And remember, when there's an exponent and there's a bracket around a number, it affects both the number and the sign. Okay, so in this instant here, this is negative 4 squared. This negative is going to become a positive because this exponent is even. If this exponent was odd, then this would have remained a negative. So anyways, 4 squared is 16. Then we have this multiplication that we could do. So 6 times by negative 4, a positive and a negative will give me a negative. 6 times by 4 is 24. And now let's do this multiplication. 2 times by 16 is 32. And write everything else down. And then left to right, 32 minus 24 is 8. And 8 minus 2 is 6. Alright, so this guy here, I'm going to do my brackets before I do my exponents. And then I'll do my multiplication and then my subtraction here. So this guy here is my brackets. 2 minus 3, that's going to give me negative 1. Oh, forgot to change my pen. There we go here. Then I have negative 6. And then let's do these exponents here. So 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So this one's going to be 8. Minus 5. Then with this guy, it just affects the 2 because there's no sign there. So 2 squared is 4. Now let's do our multiplication. So I'm going to leave this 8 alone. Negative 5 times by 4, that's going to give me negative 20. Negative 6 times by negative 1, that's going to give me positive 6. Then 8 minus 20, that's going to give me negative 12. Add by 6. Negative 12 plus by 6 is just going to give me negative 6. Alright, in this question here, innermost bracket first, I'm going to get a negative 3 from this guy. And then write everything else out. Okay, then do your multiplication within the square bracket. So this guy right here, that's going to give me a negative 6. Okay, negative 6, that's going to give me a negative 12. I could drop my brackets, divide by 3 minus 6. So do my division before I do my subtraction. Negative 12 divided by 3 is going to give me a negative 4. And then negative 4, negative 6 is going to give me negative 10. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to do my multiplication left to right. So I'm going to do this guy first. Oh, I forgot to change my pen again. So 12 times by negative 8, that's going to give me negative 96. Divide by 4/3. Now remember here, now I'm going to be dividing two fractions. So any whole number is always over 1. Okay? And then whenever you divide fractions, you have to multiply its reciprocal. So I'm going to have my negative 96, my first number, I'm not going to move. I'm going to multiply the reciprocal of 4/3. The reciprocal is just a flip, so it's going to be 3/4. Okay? And then I could just multiply this through, but it's just easier if you reduce before you multiply through. So I could see here that 4 and 96 have a common denominator. I could divide both by 4 and both by 4. This one could cancel out. And then negative 96 divide by 4, that's going to give me negative 24. Okay, and then now this there's nothing underneath the 3, so I could just go times by 3. Then lastly, negative 24 times by 3 is going to give me negative 72. Alright, so to this question here, there's two brackets here, and there are subtractions of fractions in both, so I'm just going to work the brackets separately, and then I will multiply them too because they are side by side like so. So I'm going to go times by 2 because I want a common denominator, and I'm going to get a 2 over 4 minus 3 over 4 in the first bracket. In this bracket, I'm going to times this by 2 because I want a denominator of 6. All right, so here I have 2 minus 3, and I'm going to be getting a negative 1 over 4. 5 minus 2, I'm going to get a 3 over 6. Then I'm going to multiply it through here, so I have 1 times by 3, and that's going to be a 3. Don't forget that negative. 4 times by 6 is 24, and now I could reduce. So I could see the greatest common factor between 3 and 24 is actually 3. So when I reduce this, I'm going to get a negative 1 over 24 divided by 3 is 8. Alright, so here I am going to do my exponents before I do my multiplication and then my subtraction. So here, remember when you have an exponent of a fraction, it affects both the top and the bottom. So I'm going to get 4 over 9. Then I could go minus these two, work these ones out. So again, I could just multiply this through, but it's just easier if you reduce. So before you multiply. So I'm going to divide this by 3 and then this guy down here by 3. And I'm going to divide this by 4 and then this guy by 4. Okay, so this one here becomes 1. This one here also becomes 1 because 4 divided by 4 is also 1. Then multiply by 16 divided by 4 is going to give me 4. 15 divided by 3 is going to give me 5. Okay, so basically when I multiply this through, I'm still just going to get my 4 over 5. Then I have here my 4 over 9, bring down that negative sign. And this is the last thing that I have to work out. So the lowest common denominator between 9 and 5 is 45. So I'm going to times this by 5 times my numerator by 5. I get 20 over 45 times this by 9 times this by 9, and I'm going to get 36 over 45. And then just working with my numerators, 20 minus 36 is going to give me negative 16, and then keep your denominators. Alright, so this guy here, I have to work the numerator first, and then I divide with this denominator of 12. So I'm going to just look at this 3 over 4 minus 12. So common denominator between the two is 4. So times by 2 times by 2. I'm going to get 3 over 4 minus 2 over 4 all over 12. 3 over 4 minus 2 over 4, that's going to give me negative 1 over 4. And I'm going to go divide by 12 because it's the same thing, okay? And then again, remembering the previous question, any whole number always has a 1 underneath, and then dividing fractions, the same as multiplying is reciprocal. So I'm going to have 1 over 4 times by 1 over 12, okay? And this one's going to be 1 times 1 is going to be 1. 4 times by 12, that's going to give me 48.